Sorry, John. Thanks to you, I've become a world-famous designer. Thank you.
Harry, my colleague who stole the design I created at a major design company, submitted it under his own name to a large competition and ultimately won. You're kidding, right? That design is. I confronted him, but Harry whispered softly in my ear.
You mean Mr. Harry, right? I'm going to be your boss. Don't come speaking so casually to me, you loser. And from now on, use polite language, okay? Ha ha ha.
My name is John Smith. I was raised by my grandparents. When I was still very young, my parents were taken from me in a traffic accident. My grandparents' house in the suburbs was quite large, even with a small field. It was a great environment for me to grow up freely. Of course, I often felt down when I remembered that my parents were suddenly gone, but my grandparents lovingly supported me. Their hobby was gardening, particularly growing vegetables. Their hobby eventually led to their vegetables being sold at a direct sales corner at a nearby supermarket. But sales weren't so good. Despite being tasty and looking good, why were they left unsold? If only I could communicate the charm of the vegetables my grandparents grew to everyone. With that thought, I picked up a sketchbook. From the veranda, I looked out over the field and drew the summer vegetables grown splendidly and my grandmother watering them. The vegetables, splashing off droplets of water, looked even more delicious. I displayed that picture with my grandparents' vegetables. From that day, the vegetables started selling like hotcakes.
Hey, we did it. John's drawings help sell the vegetables.
John's drawings have a wonderful power. I'm proud of my grandson.
I was happy that I was able to repay my grandparents for their care, even if only a little. I was terrible at studying. My grades were always on the edge. In addition, I had no parents. Sadly, this led to being teased and sometimes bullied at school. But for some reason, I was good at drawing illustrations. I loved art class and won many awards. No one complained about my illustrations. As I spent my days in an environment that changed with the power of illustrations, I began to feel that perhaps illustrations had a compelling force, just as my grandmother had said. As I grew older, I wanted to work in illustration or design, to be useful to people like when I helped sell my grandparents' vegetables. Even if I wasn't good at studying, I thought I could do this. Time passed, and I managed to graduate from college. My hard work was rewarded, and I was able to get a job at a major design company. It was a company so well known that there wouldn't be anyone who didn't recognize the name. I received surprised and congratulatory responses from everyone around me, and I myself was thrilled thinking about how wonderful my future would be. However, when I actually started working, I faced a reality that was far from the ideal I had pictured. Day in and day out, I simply carried out the work as directed, finished the design as instructed by the boss, and submitted. That's how it felt. The standard for evaluation was how quickly you could finish. This was a stark contrast to the work I had imagined when I thought of a design company. There wasn't even a hint of imagination, just the same repetitive days. I started to question if I really had gotten a job at a design company or if there was some sort of mistake. I felt discouraged as I continued to work day after day. But I thought if I could effectively utilize the imagination and skills I've cultivated so far, I might be able to escape from these monotonous days. Whenever I harbored such faint hopes and tried to enter a competition, I'd be dropped at the preliminary stage. At first, I thought it was due to my lack of ability, but I noticed something. The selection committee was always the same, a fixed group. It was clearly a rigged game. No matter how much I expanded my imagination, no matter how good a design I brought in, the selection criteria was not there. Since it was such a blatantly rigged game, there were several other employees who were not satisfied. Eventually, Dark rumors started to circulate in the office, like the employees who always get selected are doing some kind of favor for the judges, or they must be lobbying. Monotonous work, a negative workplace atmosphere. I started to lose track of what was enjoyable about working there. Still, I couldn't allow myself to be beaten by my environment. I told myself I could still do it, and never stopped researching the market without giving up. Company A's design trends. I see. It's true that trends are cyclical, isn't it? I quickly finished the work assigned to me and stared at the monitor at my desk. Sometimes, I cut into my lunch break to conduct street surveys. The reason I aimed for this job was because of that incident when my grandparents were delighted by my drawing. I haven't made anyone else happy yet. I've come this far to create something that can bring joy to someone I haven't met yet. I spent my days making sure I never slacked off in my efforts. One day, as I was compiling the responses from the street survey at my desk, I heard a familiar male voice from behind.
John, what's this? Oh, one of your street surveys for fun. Man, you never learn. You know this won't get you a promotion, right?
Even without meaning to, I let out a sigh whenever I heard his voice. What do you want, Harry? Just leave me be. Harry's desk was back to back with mine, and he'd always lean over and make some snide comment.
Man, John, you're so cold. Being jealous of me won't get you anywhere. But I guess I can see why you'd be jealous.
The man who always mocked me whenever he opened his mouth, Harry, was unfortunately in the same higher group as me. He was obsessed with advancing his career, always fawning over our bosses whenever he had a chance. He happily went out for lunch with them, all for the sake of climbing the corporate ladder, and never missed a drinking party. I wanted to advance my career with my own designs. Harry didn't seem to understand this, and he and the others would often laugh at me, calling me a hard-working idiot because I never tried to suck up to our bosses. But it wasn't like Harry was fawning over the bosses because he lacked ability. His designs were certainly impressive, especially recently. He'd been getting great results in competitions, and his face had started to become a regular sight among the regular competitors. But that's exactly why it disgusted me. Of course, design ability was necessary to be chosen in a competition, but on a daily basis, we had to do work exactly as instructed and also ingratiate ourselves to our bosses. That's not the kind of work I wanted to do. I didn't have any hopes for a bright future at this company and had decided that I would eventually strike out on my own.
Well, unlike you, John, I don't have time to be doing such petty tasks. After all, the AJ competition is waiting for me.
The AJ competition. It was a massive event held every 4 years to decide the logo for a nationwide festival, and it was coming up soon. I see.
Is your petty work finally going to pay off, John? Well, no matter how much you struggle, you can't beat me.
I was amazed at his talent for putting people down, but I told him anyway. I'm not participating in the AJ competition, win or lose. Even if I did participate, it would be a rigged game. It should be an exciting opportunity given the scale of the competition. But as someone who's decided to go independent, there's no value in participating. I'd be eliminated before the selection process. Harry stood up suddenly at my words and placed his hand on my desk with a thud. Then he leaned over from behind and whispered into my ear.
John, you're seriously wasting your time. What are you even working here for? Are you just stealing a salary? If you win that competition, you can make a huge jump in your career. I'm definitely going to win this competition and rise through the ranks. I'll be so high up, I'll be able to snap my fingers at you. We may have started at the same time, but you and I are different. I'm going to show you the difference in our levels. You're a salary thief, a loser who's too timid to even participate in a big competition.
With that, Harry left. I was irritated, but I didn't feel like retaliating or arguing back. As I watched Harry walk away, I got myself together and resumed summarizing the responses from my street survey. A few days later, as I was walking back from the restroom, I heard Harry shouting from a meeting room. It was rare for him to raise his voice like that. Out of curiosity, I decided to listen from a slightly distant vacant room.
Damn it, do you even want to work here? Do it right.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Define, you're useless. Get out, now.
Yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
The door opened, and the person who was being shouted at by Harry came out of the meeting room. It was Lily Brown, a new employee who had just joined the company. There was no need to yell at a new employee, let alone a girl, like that. Lily, who was always smiling and had a calm expression, was making a face I had never seen before. There was nothing I could do, but my curiosity got the better of me. I pretended to pass by coincidentally and called out to her from a bit behind. "Oh, Lily, good work."
Oh, Mr. Smith, good work today.
Lily, who seemed a little surprised at my voice, turned around and greeted me with a forced smile. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Oh, by the way, Lily, do you go to cafes often?"
At a cafe? Well, sometimes, I guess.
"Oh, I see. Well, actually, there's this new cafe that opened near the office, right? I've been curious about their lunch menu because it looks really good, but it's awkward to go alone. I don't usually go to cafes, and I'm a man by myself. So, if you don't mind, would you join me for lunch today?" "Oh, of course. I'll treat you to lunch."
Oh, that place. I've been curious about it too since I haven't been there yet. Sure, I could use a change of pace.
I've never invited anyone, let alone a girl, to lunch before, so it must have been incredibly awkward, but Lily agreed to go. During this lunch, I'll try to ask about the reason for Harry's shouting earlier, within what's acceptable to ask. Lily Brown. She has won various awards since her student days. Right after she joined the company, there were rumors that she was a promising new hire, and I thought so too. Lately, I haven't heard such rumors, nor have I heard about her doing well. She's been quiet, likely losing her self-confidence. And if she's being yelled at by Harry at such a time, it's likely to hurt her quite a bit. I decided to casually ask her about the incident at the cafe. "Lily, how have you been feeling lately? As you know, I'm tired from being ridiculed by Harry every day. Just the other day, he called me a loser for not entering the AJ competition. When I went to the restroom earlier and looked at my face, I saw how downtrodden I looked, and it was totally depressing."
Haha, it's not like that. But you'd always have a serious face when you're at your desk.
As I suspected, Lily seemed somewhat preoccupied since she had just been yelled at. "Is that so? Well, when I saw you in the hallway when I came out of the restroom earlier, you seemed to have a pretty serious look on your face too. Did something happen?" As I asked this, while trying to be as considerate as possible, Lily turned to me with a start.
Oh, did it show on my face? I'm sorry. Actually, just before you called me Mr. Smith, I was being scolded by Mr. Harry. He said, "You don't have the right mindset as a designer."
A designer's mindset? Huh. I don't have such a thing either. As long as we work in this company, there's no way we can have a designer's mindset. It's the same thing day in and day out. Making the design as instructed. How can anyone call that being a designer? That's what I want to say every day.
Mr. Smith, is that really the case?
It seems my inner thoughts had completely spilled out. And oh, those were well, yes, honestly, that's what I think. From the beginning, I had a dream to help someone with the design I created. I thought I could realize my dream at this company, so I worked hard and managed to join. When I got the job offer, my dreams expanded enormously. But once I actually started working, the reality was different. I couldn't do any of the work that I had always envisioned doing before I joined this company. Staring at the monitor all the time in this company, like Harry said, is a waste of time. So I've been thinking about quitting the company and starting my own business. Instead of listening to Lily's story, I ended up talking about my own relevant things. I quickly apologized to Lily. "Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have grumbled about the company to a promising new employee like you. Besides, I didn't want to talk about myself. I wanted to hear about you."
No, it's okay. You're thinking about going independent. I can see why you might think that. Now that you've shared what's on your mind, Mr. Smith, I feel like telling you my story. Would you like to hear it?
As I answered, of course, Lily began to speak, reminding me that what she was about to say was off the record. The contents of her story were rather heavy for a new employee. Lily shared a secret she had never been able to tell anyone, and that she was thinking of quitting her design job altogether because of this secret. I was amazed that she was willing to confide in someone like me. "Lily, thank you for sharing that with me. Of course, I'll keep it to myself, but I must say, I think it's a shame that you're considering quitting your job in design. You see, I've seen some of your past works. They are all fantastic, and even if the rumors around you have stopped, I've always believed you're a promising newcomer. It would be a waste for a talented designer like you to be squashed here. I want you to continue being an excellent designer. If you're determined, I'll back you up."
Mr. Smith, thank you. If you're going to support me, I feel like I can stretch my wings. Please, I look forward to working with you.
I decided to cooperate with Lily and participate in that major competition. After all, a designer should be evaluated on their proper work. From that day on, Lily and I thought about design every day after work. We weren't paid for this time, but the time spent thinking about design with her, who could be considered a comrade, was fulfilling and enjoyable. Sometimes we would disagree, but even that was a good time for us to learn from each other, as we were both facing design head-on. Yes, this is what a designer should be, I believe. One day, when I was spending such fulfilling days, Lily was off, so I was left alone at the office thinking about the design, mumbling to myself. That's when I heard someone's footsteps approaching. Looking in the direction of the sound, I saw Harry.
Well, John, what are you doing still here? You're not still working on that street survey report. Wait, what's this? You're not participating in the AJ competition, are you?
What does it matter to you, Harry? You seem confident enough. It shouldn't matter what I do.
Humph? Well, I guess so. No matter how much you struggle, you can't beat me. That fact won't change. Go ahead and struggle as much as you want, you spineless salary thief.
Harry, who was about to walk away in his usual mocking manner, received a word of caution from me. "Harry, you should stop while you're ahead. You hear me?"
Huh? What are you trying to say, John?
You know what I mean, don't you?
Huh? Why should I tolerate such an attitude from you? I'm the winner. You're the loser. We're on different levels. Got it? Next time, use respectful language when speaking to me, okay?
With that, Harry left for somewhere else. A few days later, I went to work and headed for my desk. But there was a stir in the office. A crowd was gathering in one corner, and as I approached, I began to hear what they were talking about.
It looks like the AJ competition was decided on Harry's design.
I knew he'd been doing well lately, but I never thought it would be his design.
The crowd's eyes were directed at the competition results posted on the wall and Harry standing next to them. As expected of his confidence, I thought, and looked at Harry's chosen design. To my surprise, my heart nearly leapt out of my chest, because there, displayed, was the design that Lily and I had been working on together. I was shocked and stunned, but quickly came to my senses and confronted Harry, pulling him away from the crowd.
Hey, what's up, John? Are you moved by my victory? I'm not going anywhere.
Harry, that design, it's my design.
Yes, so?
Harry casually admitted to the plagiarism. I was so taken aback by his bluntness that I lost my grip on his arm.
Listen, John, let me ask you something. Do you think your design would have been chosen if you'd entered it in the competition? It would have been rejected before it was even considered, right? John, in this world, it's not just about the quality of the design. Networking is important. A design that wouldn't even be seen if it was submitted normally has, thanks to me, been elevated to a design that sees the light of day. I, John, am the one who brought your design to the world. I'd rather you thank me.
I was increasingly astonished at what I was hearing. But no, that design was something Lily and I had worked on together. But that design. Before I could finish my sentence, Harry interrupted me.
You did it with Lily, right? If that's the case, I'd appreciate it even more, right? A design thought up by a greenhorn doe like you guys would be rejected just by seeing the name, right? I bothered to submit it and it was chosen. Keep refining yourself without getting carried away in the future, okay?
Harry was smirking all the time. He wouldn't listen to what I had to say.
Well, the result is that I was chosen. I was chosen in such a large competition. A promotion is a sure thing. No, it's not an exaggeration to say this is the first step towards becoming a world-class designer. John, as I told you before, we joined the company at the same time, but you and I are different. I'll be your boss. From now on, address me properly, okay? See you.
Hey, Harry, the discussion isn't over yet. That design is.
Oh, John, can't you even do what I just told you? It's John Salmon, right? We're in a different class. Use proper language, you loser and salary thief.
Harry, who was in high spirits, left without even listening to my story. Eventually, that design was officially adopted as the logo for the festival. As it was the logo for a national festival, it was broadcasted widely on television.
Harry is really amazing, isn't he?
It's great. I'm so proud that the design of someone so close to us is becoming the logo of the festival.
The office was in a festive mood, but I wasn't in the spirit. What was there to celebrate about someone who plagiarizes? But the celebratory mood didn't stop. Even the president, who rarely shows his face, made an appearance.
Harry, I've heard a lot about your hard work. It's a great achievement for our company as well. Congratulations on this occasion. President, you're exaggerating, but thank you.
I thought to myself, he really is full of himself, when an employee murmured.
Harry's logo is being accused of plagiarism.
Hearing that murmuring, the surrounding employees approached the employee in disbelief. That employee was showing a post from a social media platform to the employees who had gathered. The post showed two images, the logo designed by Harry and a logo designed by another designer in the past. These two were so identical that they couldn't be distinguished at a glance.
Wait, these are almost the same.
Which one is Harry's design?
The topic spread rapidly, and the festive mood quickly changed to an uneasy atmosphere. Harry himself was still grinning, saying that it was nonsense and the work of someone jealous of his good design. But the post spread quickly and finally sparked a huge controversy.
That post is being massively shared and causing a huge backlash. This is bad.
With a sigh, I, who was fed up with the whole situation, tried to get back to work and headed to my desk when I felt a strange atmosphere from behind.
Hey, John.
Harry grabbed my shoulder with incredible force and forcibly turned me around. Ouch, what is it, Harry?
It's not what. Don't mess with me.
Harry cursed at me and grabbed my collar, shaking me.
You've done it now, haven't you? Thanks to you, my name is being tarnished. How are you going to make up for this? Huh.
As I was saying, as I murmured that, Harry's face turned even redder and he raised his fist to hit me. But just before he could, the president showed up in front of us.
Harry, Smith, what's going on here? Both of you, come to my office immediately.
Released from Harry's grasp, I followed the orders and headed to the president's office. There stood Harry and I in front of the president. Harry explained his reasoning, the same one he presented to me earlier. Harry had simply submitted my design, because if Harry submitted it, there was a higher chance of it passing the competition. He knew that my submissions to the competition had always been rejected, so he had submitted it for me. He went as far as saying that I should be grateful that it had seen the light of day. And Harry insisted that he only submitted my design to the competition. The real perpetrator who plagiarized the design from another past designer was me. And Harry himself was certainly not at fault. It was still an excuse that I had no idea who would be satisfied with, no matter how many times I heard it. To begin with, I was aware of the fact that the design that Lily and I had created resembled one that another designer had presented years ago. After all, when you're designing, you can unintentionally end up creating something similar. But because I knew of the existence of the previous design, I decided not to submit it as a proposal and saved it on my computer. I suspect that Harry, who knew I was going to enter this competition, must have snooped on my data.
So, President, I don't know if it's a backlash or what, but the cause of this uproar is Smith, this guy. Because this design is Smith's design. That's right, it's not too late. John, I'm going to spread the word that this design is yours, John Smith's design. Then the world will know that it's truly your design. Your name will become known, and I can prove my innocence. Yes, I'll do that right now.
As Harry took out his smartphone, I stopped him. Hey, Harry, just stop it. This isn't your first time, is it?
What are you talking about?
You've been presenting designs that others have created as if you created them. This isn't your first time.
What are you talking about?
I heard it all from Lily. How you've been habitually stealing other people's designs and ideas and presenting them as your own. Lately, you've even had Lily create designs and presented them as your own. I thought you were doing well recently, but all the designs were Lily's. I had heard a secret from Lily on the day of that lunch. That was the fact that Harry had been habitually plagiarizing. And for this competition's design, he had naturally tried to get Lily to design it, but she had refused.
Harry, I can't do this anymore.
What do you mean you're going?
I can't cooperate with you anymore.
What? It's thanks to me that even a rookie design like yours gets selected.
That's not your talent. The design I made is mine.
Hey, Lily, wait, damn it.
So, in your rush, you snooped on my computer and plagiarized this design, right?
What? Don't just make things up. Do you have any evidence?
I don't. The email exchanges between you and Lily are proof. I showed Harry and the president the emails between Harry and Lily that I'd gotten from Lily. The emails contained exchanges where Harry was basically ordering Lily to create designs in his place. You can't talk your way out of this anymore, Harry. Then, the president, who had been covering his mouth and listening all this time, broke the silence.
Smith, thank you. We need to take this incident seriously as a company. Harry, we will inform you of your punishment later. Now both of you, please return to your duties.
With that, the president rose from his seat and made to leave the room. Harry, desperate, called out to the president's back.
President, wait, this isn't just me. Everyone has been doing this before, haven't they?
The president stopped in his tracks and listened to Harry's plea without turning around. But once he finished listening to Harry's plea, he left the room without saying a word. Later, the president held a press conference. acknowledged Harry's plagiarism, announced his dismissal, and apologized. The logo had been widely covered on TV when it was initially decided, so this incident caused quite a stir. Of course, the adoption of Harry's logo was canceled, and instead it was decided to select one from public submissions. And from the several proposals selected from the public submissions, a vote was held, and the design that was finally chosen was the logo that Lily and I had officially submitted. Harry, who ended up being fired. The plagiarism incident was widely publicized, and his name became globally known in a bad way. Plus, he was fired from the company, so it would be quite difficult for him to continue working as a designer in the future. After all, it's doubtful whether Harry has any talent as a designer in the first place. And then there's Lily. She truly made a name for herself globally, in a good way, by winning a major project. Lily, I'm really glad. Congratulations.
Thank you. But it wasn't just my effort that got selected. It was worth creating it together with you, Mr. Smith. So I want to continue to create designs with you in the future. I feel like we can continue to create amazing designs together. Please.
It's an honor to be invited by a promising global designer. But I'm sorry, I want to do the design work I want to do. As I mentioned before, I want to create designs freely, without being bound by the company.
Can I follow you, Mr. Smith?
Huh?
I want to work with you.
I quit the company and went independent. And Lily also quit the company and is working in the same private office with me. Thanks to Lily, I'm always thankfully busy. But in the midst of that, we create our own designs and propose them directly to clients, both individuals and corporations. I can make the customers happy, and I can do the work I love. The job I have been seeking, I was finally able to do with my own strength, illustration and design work. There might be, as my grandmother had always said, a power to motivate people in those. There might even be more people who think they want to create such designs. From now on, I want to trust my skills and the joy of my customers and fulfill my work that will please someone.